Welcome back to The Smart Consumer. I'm Rick Hicks from the law firm of Stevens & Lee, and today we're talking about the case for business diversity. And with me to do that are two distinguished people. I'm serious, very distinguished.
Well, thank you.
Ms. Darlene Jenkins, President and CEO of the Minority Supplier Development Council. And I gotta get it right because I don't want to mess up your name, Ben. Mr. Ben Khalaf, President of Austin Khalaf and Associates, an insurance firm, right?
Yes.
Is that the right description, an insurance firm or insurance brokerage? Or?
We're insurance brokers and consultants.
That's what I thought. I thought it was more than just a firm. Brokers and consultants. And we're really talking about what is the business justification for diversity. And just before we broke, you began to talk about the business case in support of diversity. And you mentioned something about demographics changing. Mm-hmm. Can you expand on that so that, I know if we really went into the business case of diversity, we'd be here all day. Mm-hmm. But there probably is a fairly easy way to explain how demographics relates to both, all three, customers, employees, and vendors and suppliers. Help me do that.
Well, I can do the diversity from the way that I see it is in purchasing.
Okay.
When I look at the results from 2005, when we look at our population today, 28% or more of our population today is minority.
28%.
Is represented by minorities. But when you look at that population in a whole, only 15% of that 28% are minority business owners.
Okay.
Okay. And in 2005, projections showed that our corporations in a whole purchased over $90 billion in goods and services from businesses.
All right.
All right.
Good number so far, and I'm still with you.
And 3%, so when you take it down, you may say that that's good. They're purchasing $90 billion in services from minority-owned businesses. But when you look at only 28% of that population, and also 15% of that being minority-owned, only 3% of that was through gross receipts.
Okay.
And only 4% was for overall purchases. So, we've got a lot of work to do in that area.
All right, I'm a lawyer, so I have to break things down to lowest common denominator. Numbers and lawyers don't go that well together. But if I understood what you said about 28% of the population being minorities, just from a customer perspective, we're saying that 1 out of every 4, at least.
Yes.
1 out of every 4 people in this country who businesses are selling to today is a minority.
Absolutely, yes.
And if 1 out of every 4 people buying widgets or hamburgers or clothes is a minority, then businesses have to be aware of that.
Yes.
And are they, Ben?
I think they are. When they look at their marketing, they have to somewhat brand and tailor their advertisement to the population that they're selling to. And today, as you said, when you look at the population and who's buying those items, they have to be sensitive to diversity with respect to employment, with respect to opportunities, their vendor base, where they're buying from. And it's just a good social thing to do, to purchase from minorities.
Well, that reminds me of an example. One of my friends told me about a Chevrolet issue when Chevy created the Nova, and it sold like hotcakes in the United States, but when they went to market it in South America, they had to change the name. Because in South America, Nova means no go. And who wants to buy a car that is called no go? And that actually is a cultural sensitivity that they had to make account of. So they had to change their marketing for South America. So if the business case is driven by changing demographics, does that business case include employees being necessary?
Yes, because you're representing, corporations are now striving to represent the customer base they're serving. So not only in employees, but also in suppliers, because it's imperative today to have suppliers that represent the customers that they're serving. Corporations that do it right, the smart corporations, are seeing phenomenal gains and being able to penetrate areas where they've never been able to penetrate before, to attract diverse markets, to attract new consumers, and to also to impact the economy in a positive way.
And I don't want to miss the suppliers. In fact, I have some very specific questions to ask you about suppliers. But back on the employees, for example, I keep hearing people say they can't find qualified minority candidates. Is that your experience at all?
Well, that's what we hear, but there are many qualified minority suppliers, minority vendors. People just have to look. The MSDC of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware is an excellent organization that they can call when they're looking for minority vendors. Sometimes, I think it's just an excuse for not utilizing a minority vendor to say that they can't find qualified vendors. And we are just one council of 40-plus councils across the country that they would also have access to.
That's actually an important question. Yours is a regional branch of a national organization, then, right?
Correct.
And nationally, there are organizations like yours in most states?
Well, there's 39, as Ben has stated, there's 39 regional councils. They're located throughout the United States, but we all roll up under the National Minority Supplier Development Council. When you look at the impact of all 39 councils, there's close to 15,000 members of corporate organizations, and also close to over 4,000 certified minority businesses.
Well, let me ask you, Ben, what does it take to become a certified minority vendor?
Well, first, the business has to be a minority firm, 51% owned by one of the groups, Asian, African American, Hispanic, or Native American.
Okay.
By being certified, basically, the process is to confirm that it is minority owned, controlled, and operated, to eliminate the so-called fronts. By being certified with the council, it provides opportunities. There's no promise of any business. Some people get the impression that by being certified by a council, business opportunities are going to just automatically come, and that's not true. They provide access to the corporate listings of the people who are doing the purchasing at the various corporations. They provide training. They provide minority business,
That's
expos.
Right. That's excellent.
Where people can come and meet with corporate buyers.
Well, we're going to talk more about that in a moment, but we're going to take a break, and we'll return with the Smart Consumer.